What up? What up? What up? What up? What up? So, welcome back to another drawing session of the Raven. Now I'm your host, Ray. So check it out. It's the weekend, right? Not the performer, not the artist. It's my mother's birthday today. Happy birthday, mother! So I'm actually making fajita burritos. So if you don't know what a fajita burrito is because you live under a rock, basically take fajita stuff and burrito stuff and just stuff it into a big fat wrap and then put it on a grill. Make you want to slap your mama, but I won't because it's her birthday. Plus, that's probably bad. If you, why does that happen to me? If you have any, if you hear any crunchy crunch sound like that, if you can hear that, that's my wife bagging stuff because she has an online business. Like I had said, I don't know if you heard that before, but she has an online business, and so she's packing stuff that sold this weekend or not this weekend, this last couple days. All right, then. So this last panel I drew this missing poster. And I only have a few minutes to do this. That's why I was mentioning that. So I'm probably going to have to break this into two parts. Not that it's going to matter to you because magic of editing. I'm going to try to first off, gather my thoughts. I'm going to try to cram as much drawing as I can in this. I only have one panel to do here, but what I want to do is kind of like the hush, what this says here. Shows a subtle fear settling over the town as people begin to wonder if the Raven is in the area. Scenes of locals looking at the missing flyer or discussing it in hushed tones. Now, that's just because I wasn't sure how I wanted to do it. But I am going to have her missing poster kind of in the middle. I had an idea of something like this. I'm almost done, by the way. This is page 23. So I will be going back and making sure I'm happy with and refining all the drawings that I think need some work on. I just wanted to get all of the stuff laid out, sort of like a storyboard, but get to it and draw it. So the post is going to be, well, that's no bueno. Let's all right, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna use this effect, not effect, but what do you call it? Do shift click on CSP because why did it do that? It's straight. You can also use a straight line, but why does that not look good? That's driving me crazy. So you get it to where it's that's pretty good, I think. Well, you know what? Screw it. I'll use the line tool. I don't usually use the line tool, but I will for this. And I think maybe 12. Yeah. So draw it straight down for this because it's a pole. I want it to look basically straight. It doesn't have to be perfectly straight because, you know, stuff isn't always straight in real life. Oh, that's the wrong tool. But for the sake of this being manufactured, it's a manufactured light pole, you know. So let me see. Yeah, that'll work. And then, you know, you have overgrown grass over it and stuff. Then it has texture and stuff. And so what I'm going to do is this poster here, no sense in redrawing it. I'm going to skew it. So I'm going to copy this poster. I'll bring it on down to Chinatown. All right. So this is just the poster itself. And I'm going to bring it down in size. I wanted to put it off to the side over here. And I think there's a way Let me just see if I can do it like this. I wanted to wrap it around the pole, so we're going to do this. And of course, oh, I know what to do. The little bubble thing that's I used yesterday. So we're just going to put it like right up to the edge of the pole, something like this. All right. And I wanted this to be a lot smaller because I want them to... I wanted to be surrounding it. Okay. And then the bubble, I can actually use this bubble liquefy thing. That is huge. And it should... Oh, that's too much. Let me see if I can... Yeah. I'll erase the top part, but I'm going to see if I can get this to go sort of around the tree. I mean, that doesn't look too bad, but the thing is that... Oops. This thing in the center, the problem is if I do this, it's just going to squash it. So right now, I'm kind of wishing I used Adobe for this, but this, you know, I can do that, but that's no fun. Let's try to make this work. So I can't see what I'm doing. That's on liquefy, but then it should be... Where'd my brush go? Where'd my brush option go? Oh, it's because that's selected. Let's see. There, yeah, that did it. See how it's kind of like pushing it around and kind of in a perspective kind of way? Yeah, that's kind of what I want to do. Yeah, that works. That's more or less going on work right there. And then the texture of the pole is not that important. So, because I'm going to fix it. Oh, oops. Hang on. I don't know what I'm doing that for. Okay. We'll do that, and I'm just going to save this just in case. I'm going to come back actually through here and just erase it with this big old fat eraser because it's easier. Like I said, the idea is supposed to be that this poster has been sitting there for a while, and yeah, that should work. Let me see. I just want to get this. Yeah. So her picture is basically on the side of this pole, and the only other thing I feel like it needs... Let me just do it this way. I think it needs to come down a little. That's pretty good. Okay, and so this pole is a little too wide. I'm just gonna... Oops. Wrong one. I just want to squash the pole down a little bit. To kind of match that vibe. It's hard to do because the pole size is way up here, but... Actually, you could just move this to there. And to really sell that it's, you know, kind of sticking off, do it that way. And then we can just erase this part of the pole. And that should do that part. Right about there. That way it looks like it's kind of sticking off the edge of the pole, like wrapping around. Now I could do that by just drawing the page and kind of like wrapping it around a little more, but I think it looks good because it's kind of tacked onto the side. And like I said, I can probably keep messing with it a little bit, but let's see. I think that's okay, actually. So this pole, it's a telephone pole, so it's huge, or that's what I call them anyway, telephone pole, power pole, whatever you want to call it. And then this is just sitting on the side of the road. There's going to be people and everything, but I'm doing the background first for this, just so I can set the scene. And then I can fit the people in there, which I don't usually do it that way. I usually go kind of the other way around. So our vanishing point is, let's just pretend back here. And I'm just going to draw a line this way. And I think... yeah, something like this. And this is just kind of the street, Come on. I'm trying to get this whole thing in view. It's quite a bit big for what I'm doing. Okay. So pull this over here. All right. That buys us the... oh, oops. I just realized. This is why I like to have separate layers and lock them so that I don't do stuff like that, where I always have a habit of putting them in, in the wrong place. So, which layer I wanted to be on. So something like this. That's sort of the horizon line. So we'll just do that. And this is just to be off skew for the street view. I'm not sure what's going to be back here just yet. Maybe trees. I'm not really sure. And this is sort of the sidewalk curb, I mean. Oops. It's funny with digital, people are like, it's cheating because, you can just do whatever. You can hit undo. And yeah, you can also erase stuff and use white out and that kind of stuff too. You can also use a straight edge in real life. So it's not exactly cheating. I don't know. People are funny about... I just don't think academia has any place in art, to be honest. I took art classes as a kid too, like when I was in high school, all the way from the ones we were required to take from elementary to middle school, and then I opted in to take classes for an excuse to get an easy grade, basically, because I loved to draw. But I also wanted to improve, and it's just not... academia does not work very well for drawing, I don't think. I mean, for art in general. That's just my opinion. Take it or leave it. And one other one is I need to do this. So this is going to be sort of like a... oops. Helps if you pick the right brush. So this is sort of the... what word am I looking for? Part of the grass that's between the sidewalk. It's sort of the right-of-way, if you will, for the city. And so this will make like a little sidewalk. I initially had wanted to make it much more top-down than this. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it like this. I might try and do it a little differently. This might work though. I mean, that's not really the important thing. The important thing is to establish what's going on in this particular scene, and that's... that's what I'm going for anyway. The idea is that The town is freaking out. They don't know what's going on. Here we go. Something along them lines. Pun intended? Not really. So I think that that's going to have to work. All right. I think that establishes that pretty well. And this is just going to be like, this town's supposed to be like small-ish, but like where it originally happened, kind of there on the outskirts, stuff like in a suburb somewhere. This, there is a news report that you see where you can see like a city background and stuff. So I think I'm going to make this sort of like a little downtownish kind of like not a town square specifically, but just something like where you'd expect people to be. So that's what I was going for anyway. So good old line tool, save you time. Just if I don't pick the wrong thing. It makes it nice because you can square it up and just make little building structures like that. This isn't super exciting, I'm sure, but you know, 'tis what it is. So like if you don't want it to be perfectly straight, you can just use the shift click and that makes it look like that. So I was thinking some kind of a business is over here. I don't know, some kind of factory. Let's just pretend. I could probably get away with just referencing something, but that would be too easy, wouldn't it? Don't want to make it too easy on myself. Fun in that. So that's some kind of stack. I have no idea. And then it's going to be like some old... I think this will work because what I'm going to do is... Let's just pretend it's a small town that has like an industrial area. There are a lot of places like that in Kentucky, actually, in Tennessee and stuff. They have like little coal places and nothing else. Like these huge... I mean, man, when I was a kid, there was this one... It was in Ashland, Kentucky, actually. Right around the Ohio River. You come over around the mountainside and it's just massive. It's a massive coal plant. And... I mean, just unbelievable. There's stuff like that here in Florida, but it just looked different because the way you come around and the angle you get is just like, it's intense. As a kid, I just thought it was like the craziest thing. I mean, I still think like, how we do that? How we made that? I mean, no consent. My wife is kind of ignoring me because I'm a dork. Now she's laughing. I have no idea what I'm drawing exactly. I'm just kind of, like I said, it's meant to be sort of like a factory. So if it's a background anyway, it's not really meant to be, you know, anything that you pay much attention to. So put some windows on there. And then you can't really, well, that's a lie. You can skew the window. I mean, the box, if you do this. If you put it on a separate layer, you can skew it, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to do it by hand. This way, it looks sort of like those old school window panes. It could be an old abandoned factory too. It doesn't actually have to be something that's still used. Plenty of those. And if you don't know anything about perspective, the further away something gets from you, obviously, the smaller it gets. And that also works for these windows. I mean, that might be a bit exaggerated, but who's counting? I mean, that does the job, so I'm not stressing it. And no one's really paying much attention to this. This is just going to be a wall around the business that you're not supposed to climb over, for the safety of the public as well as the safety of the business. You don't really think about that kind of stuff when you're a kid, but you know what? As an adult, you're like, I appreciate that there's a wall there. I'll tell you, there's some dangerous stuff going on in factories, boy. I've worked in a bunch of factories. Now, I'm not saying that they're unsafe, all of them, but I'm saying, like, if you don't belong there, don't go in there. If you're a kid, listen, we listen to Mr. Ballin a lot. I think I've mentioned that before, but if you don't know who he is, he tells stories on YouTube, and he's really, really good. He's really entertaining. It kind of like Ray William Johnson. We watch him too, and watch a bunch of stuff. But anyway, they some of the stories he tells about both of them. But Ray usually tells stories about people doing illegal stuff, and Mr. Ballin just kind of tells whatever story comes to mind. I guess whatever he researches or whatever. Really great storyteller. And anyway, there was one factory where the dude, it's a long story. I mean, but he tells it well, like I said. But really, the short end of it is a guy gets killed. Well, 3 of them, I think. There were 5 guys. I think 3 of them got killed, and they basically got covered in molten ash, which is, for lack of better words, it's lava. Like, it was just being summoned. Yes. Okay. And that is where I'm going to take a break. I'm going to come back and finish this up. I shall return. I ran out and made a bunch of burritos. Now I'm full. Oh, God. No. I got to go back to work. I don't want to. I'm going to bed. I'm just kidding. All right, let's get it done. So this will be, what they should have? They should have an effects. There should be an effects for, I should probably just make one, but I'm saying, I feel like they could have done, they give you, listen, I pay for Clip Studio Paint, okay? It ain't free. So I'm saying they could have made like some kind of brick texture. That'd be nice. Now there is a whole community where you can go and download stuff. Some of it, I guess, I don't know for sure if it's free. A lot of it you have to pay for, but fair enough. But man, I'm just saying, it would be nice to have like bricks. It has like, there's rubble on here. There's grass and trees and different kinds of grass. There's grass patches and then like fallen leaves, which I actually do plan on using because they're cool. Gosh, excuse me. That's pretty. That's beyond. Oh, that's really pretty. Very, very pretty. I've used all of these effects to some extent. Actually, I've used all of them, I believe. Oh, that's black. There we go. I actually have used all of them now that I'm thinking about it. All of these effects have been used because the coup. There's buttons. I was over here drawing my own buttons. There's buttons. there's frill and stuff like that. You could, yeah. Anyway, I wasn't paying attention to that. So I was gonna make it kind of be fall out here and have like fall leaves on the ground. There's gonna be some trees over here, and obviously, I need a horizon line. If I'm winded, sorry. I beat from the running around and doing the things. So this horizon line is a little goofy. Oops. Yeah, that makes more sense. I'm just gonna wrap I'm just gonna do that. I'm just gonna make this road kind of veer off to the side here. Oh yeah. Just kind of like disappear into the back. And maybe like cover it in trees or something. I don't know. Just kind of turns off to the side like that. I need it to kind of, actually, it needs to make sense. So what I'm going to do is pull it to here. It kind of just disappears off to the horizon. Makes enough sense, okay? And I can just cover this up with a little bit of tree action. I'm going to use black because I'm going to use these trees in the final thing. So I'm just going to log this down. I'm going to put one more above it. And all these trees, that's huge, by the way. They're going to be off in the distance. So and then these trees should be a little smaller back here. You're not going to see this anyway because the sky is going to be kind of gray toned. But I just wanted to give it some distance. And some hill action for you. How about that? There, it looks like a hill now. Okay. I said the hills of Kentucky when I was a kid. We lived up in Kentucky for quite a few years when I was a kid. So I'm just going to leave it like that. Do something like this. It's just meant to be, you know, where the road disappears. So just to give you some depth, some idea of what's going on back there. And again, it's going to be black and white, so any silhouettes will be fine. I mean, I can do like a light gray. It doesn't have to be exactly black and white. It can be gray toned. I was going kind of more for a traditional manga kind of look, and also like noir, right? Mm-hmm. This is what I was talking about, the grass patch thing. You can, you know, oh, that's nice. That's real nice. And then, oh, that's the wrong grass size. You know, let's kind of do this. The cool thing is that there's like all these different, all these different patterns in here. So you can, you know, get that ground effect, get a lot of detail very quickly. This is really cool. I mean, of course, you could do this with like Adobe if you had the brushes to do it with, but these are included with Clip Studio Paint, so that's pretty cool. It just gives it a lot of depth very, very quickly. So those are kind of finished effects, you know. And the grass around the pole, and then, oh, let's grab this other. Where'd it go? This grass. There's this grass. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I'm looking for. Just making sure I'm in the right spot. I give it some depth, and then of course, the further back you go, the smaller it should be, within reason. There's also going to be different sized patches of grass and stuff too, so that'll pretty much do what I want it to do. But on the this wall over here, it doesn't really matter. Like, it's pretty much just going to be a silhouette. I might put light in these windows. I'm not sure yet. But what I wanted to do was have people kind of like standing around in this area, just kind of like congregating, and maybe even have some candles or something over here. Oops. But I was going to do them sort of like in a group over here, and I just wanted to set the stage first. Make sure I'm happy with the way that looks. And also, there should be a curb here. Hang on. There should be like a... All right. I think that's good for that. And then... So that's almost done. I just need to... and I know I realize that this is not the same poster, or I should say, it's not in the same location, but that's because there would be more than one poster. We're not going to just be the one poster hanging around. So I'm going to do the peoples. I was just going to do some silhouette of some people. Nothing super detailed, but just people you haven't seen that are just kind of chilling and talking. And I mean, they could be having maybe a visual for her, or they could just be trying to discuss what's going on. And I'm just going to draw them the size. And then if I need to, I can resize them, so no worries. That's huge. So this is really meant to be a kind of a silhouette type thing. Not like you're specifically going to see detail from these people. I know it makes them creepy looking, but it's just the way I had intended to... Wait. Let's get rid of that. Like I said, don't know what I'm drawing. Just kind of weird. I was kind of winging it. I mean, maybe they can have their hands sticking out, like over here, like a Lego dude. You know? Anybody play Legos anymore? Do I even know what I'm saying? The arm kind of stretched all awkwardly. It's small. That's fine though. I'm gonna, like I said, pretty much just gonna silhouette them. He's too tall like that. There's a booty. So your hips are basically in here. Here, your pelvis is more or less in there. In this region. And so his knees about there. Again, he's not quite correct. That's okay though. Like I said, it's just going to be a silhouette, so I'm not too worried about it. Because this scene's going to be kind of dark, and then I realize his head is a bit enormous for the rest of his body, but that's okay. I will fix it. Maybe. Can he do it? Yes, he can. And yeah, I think, like I said, it's more going to be a silhouette, so I'm not worried about the anatomy necessarily. I don't need it to be perfect because I'm just going to cover it up. But something like that, so you can see him talking to somebody. Yeah, that's cool. So we're going to use... sorry, I'm just trying to make sure I only have him selected. I'm trying to figure... Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm just going to put him on layer. I have Save Me stuck in my head. I'm learning it. I don't usually do covers, so I'm doing it for the sake of performing on YouTube. I'm going to go and perform that song. And I love that song, so I figure why not. What am I doing? I want to move this guy. Oh, don't. That's why. Refer only to editing layer. Flip it. Yeah, see, that's cool. I think that works pretty well. Like I said, you don't have to struggle too much with that if you get the silhouette right. It's just him talking to somebody else, let's say. I mean, his thumb's a little. I wasn't really intending. I was going to have him like in a fist, but I think him having his thumb out like that makes a little bit more. Like he's going kind of like this. Makes a little more sense, but his hand is a little bit gigundo. Let us color in dish. So this is his other foot back here. I want it to feel kind of ominous. Like she's just gone and they're not sure what's going on. And I think that's achieving that. I guess stomach coming a little bit more. Now his hand is a little big. All right, let me just get this. We'll just do like, this is the meat of his hand here, like right around there is where your fingers stick out. So I'm just gonna kind of do this. Actually, yeah, that's cool for what I'm going for. And then I can just use a similar thing. And again, I'm going to have to resize him because he's in the wrong position. If he were talking to somebody in front of this sign, I imagine he would be a little taller. So cool. So there might be like a light over here kind of illuminating this. I'm not sure how I'm doing this exactly yet. This could be a street lamp. Doesn't have to be a telephone pole. Man, excuse me. So he's talking to somebody maybe, and then gonna do another layer then. Let's do it. So let's just say it's like a portly fellow. Give him he's like me. He got a big old belly. So maybe he's got his hands in his pockets like this or something. No need to go for the deets. I'm just gonna bring him in here. Let me do his other leg first in front. Maybe, if I can draw. Again, that's just his silhouette, so I'm not really worried about it being perfectly straight. I will say, though, his posture's wrong. He looks like he's going to fall over. So that guy, maybe he's a little... I mean... I won't make him like super tall, but he can be a little taller. It's fine. And so this will be all silhouettes. There's going to be people talking. I didn't actually come up with any dialogue because I'm a doofus. Not sure what he's going to be saying to each other. I guess we'll be talking about the Raven or something. There's only one person here. I was thinking I wanted like a whole crowd of people, sort of like, you know, trying to figure out what's going on. So I might do some more people over here. Lock him down. Let me do another one. Kind of funny because I can't really see what I'm doing, so I'm going to draw them over here. Let's make it I guess it could be a female. Doesn't really matter who it is that's talking. It doesn't really make any difference. I don't know why I drew it like that. Hang on. Let's get serious here. There, we get jelly bean face. Whomever this is. Doesn't have to be a female, but whatever. Could be. Being really... Oh, I just realized... Oops. I just realized it's because the pencil is set to really thin. Let me get rid of... Again, the silhouette, it doesn't really matter because the silhouette is what I'm doing. So, no reason to really worry about that too much. Base of this goal here. And we'll just give them... Again, I'm doing this like it's... I'm going to draw for a full person. It doesn't really have to be this way. Me have her hand where she's like... kind of scared. Sorry, I'm not being very talkative. I should be. Just worn out from eating burritos, man. You know, on burritos. I don't know. Gotta give her French fry fingers. I cannot talk. Oh, let's see. I know I'm being boring. What can I talk about? I was talking about Mr. B. Allen. Man, that story, the factory story I was telling you, that happened in Tampa, apparently. I forgot what year it was, but sucks. Dude had time to call his mom, ask her to send an ambulance because he was burning. Like that. That's too much. The last thing she heard of her son was him burning alive. Oh, by the way, it was a safety concern they could have handled if they had just followed protocol like normal, but they were just like, "No, don't worry about it, it'll be fine." until it isn't. That's why, if there's some safety protocol in place or something, I mean, that should be. People act like you're being a stick in the mud for following the rules, but I'm like, no. They're there for a reason, and I'm not doing it. I'm not doing anything to hurt myself, okay? Not for any company. Nope. Not happening. Risking myself for you. Yeah, you're mine. Are you going to do the same thing for me? No. Why the hell should I do that for you? Risk yourself for some company, man. They don't care about you. Companies do not care about anything more than making money. That's what they're there to do. Businesses make money. I get it, but I ain't putting myself in danger for you. I've had some people ask me to do some really stupid stuff. I'm like, I ain't doing that, dude. It's not happening. I told you I worked in construction. It's dangerous. I mean, it's fine if you do it right. I'm not doing something stupid like going underneath a boiler with liquid ash. Not happening. Nope. It better damn well be shut off because I ain't going in there. Tell you right now. Her hand's wrong there. Oh well, I'll fix it. Just for the sake of a silhouette, I think that works. She's a little... Her silhouette's a little too large here where her lips are. Chin is a little big. I'm just for what I'm trying to go for anyway. Just winging this. I don't really have any idea what I'm doing. Like for the sake of making a character, I'm just kind of winging it. No idea who she is. This hand just needs to be a little bigger on this side. Let's just do it this way. It works for me. Yeah, I know I'm not being very entertaining right now. This is second to last page, and I'm for some reason just stuck in my own thoughts. And I realize you can't understand what the hell I'm thinking. So right on. Yeah, jeez. Trying to be enthusiastic and fun. I'm not sad or anything. I just kind of tired, to be honest with you. I had kind of a long day. Didn't sleep as much as I should have. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, so her finger is kind of pointing downwards. She's kind of like doing one of these. She's kind of shocked. Her hand's still a little small, I think. This kind of, I think this will work for what I'm trying to do. Her chest, her ribs. Feature them underneath. Her little stomach. Her back's a little crazy arched, but somewhere right here. Oh. Like, what do I not like about this? Oh, that's what it is. I didn't draw her booty. You got to draw the booty. And then you can draw everything else. You do have to draw things anatomically correct-ish. Like, close. Anyway. You know, she's going to have a booty. Well, not that badonk. I'm going to say, like, somewhere like that, and then the back of her leg. And then the front of her. Oh, it's curving out too much. So this is going to kind of curve in towards the back of her knee. Where your knee folds, you know. Your kneecap is here. More or less. And then her calf will come down. Tibia. The calf comes in. She's also kind of standing. Again, she's a silhouette, so it's not that big of a deal. But she's kind of standing, yeah, perfectly straight, which doesn't make a lot of sense. And the back of her foot is too much. It's just a slight amount, something like that. Well, if she's wearing shoes, it might be a little bit more pronounced. Got the one leg girl here, so I'm gonna put her other leg like kind of behind her, like over here. If, yeah, her leg would be like, yeah, I think I'm pretty beat. I'm a tired boy. Say she's standing kind of like that. Her butt's a little small. I'm just trying to look at it from the sake of a silhouette, though. And I'm not drawing very well right now. I'm drawing poo-poo. Her whole shape is wrong. I don't know. Do as I say, not as I do as they say. Normally, I'm trying to... I think that's because I was trying to skip a step. Normally what I would do, because see her body is turned too much. I don't like that. What I normally would do is just draw it through and then adjust it. That's probably the better way to do it. So her, you know, sort of like where your hip and your acetabulum goes is there's your hip itself. You have the pelvis sort of like this, and you have that's the pelvic area. You sort of have like this connection here. Of course, the back of the hips. Where your acetabulum's this pocket here that your femur sits into. You have your femur has this huge knob on it, like this, and that goes in here. So I try to think of that kind of stuff when I'm drawing, and I mean, obviously you don't have to draw that because you're going to see it, but I try to remember like where the hip socket is and where basically the base of like where her pelvis would be when she's standing, and so your leg comes down to your knee, and I usually just draw a circle where you want the knee to be, And then just kind of connect. Of course, she has her booty. You have to draw the booty. I mean, joking aside, it's part of your human body. And then connect those lines together. That's more or less right. I try to think of that kind of stuff. Obviously, we're in pants, and you're not going to see all of this. But basically, where that in the bottom of your pelvis is, where you, right where your, it's the ischium. I can't remember which bone it is now, but it doesn't matter. What you do is you kind of wrap it around that so that your booty goes right up underneath it, tucks into it. Maybe not that extreme, but something like that. So, if she's standing here, man, she's kind of leaning forward here because she's kind of talking to somebody, but you just have to be cognizant. Like her spine would be like this, it goes down to the backside of your hip, through the spine comes down this way. So, but she's flexing at her, like around her thoracic and cervical regions are flexing because she's kind of leaning forward and kind of like tense. You can see her stomach's kind of compressed here. And then the front part of your leg sort of comes down, and of course you have your calf comes in here. It's a little bit big for her, so yeah, your legs are pretty much the same in length. That more or less works. Again, it's just meant to be a silhouette, so the calf kind of disappears to the back of your knee, and then of course that little bump where the patella sits on the front. And really, her hips kind of should be bulging out a little bit more. Actually kind of coming in more, I think. It's okay. It does not matter. I think she's good like that. Like she's kind of leaning forward and holding herself up with her stomach, so she's kind of like stressing out. And it looks like if that wasn't super useful, I'm really sorry. I'm not being very not being very entertaining. I'll make her a little shorter. Whoa. Excuse me. Yeah, I didn't mean to give her that much detail for him to be blocking her. So just going to move him forward a little bit. I think that works for them. So she's stressing over here. Oh, I guess I should. Yeah. Okay. Now that I'm being really boring, just gonna lean in forward. Like I said, I'm just gonna make sure that the silhouettes work and that they're filled in, and then besides that, I think I'm good for now. Since I'm not being very energetic and I'm being boring as hell, I'm going to stop. But first, let's take a selfie. Now what the hell? Oh, I was like, why is she like that? Okay. Oh, that's horrendous. I just realized. That's horrible. Why would you do that to her? Well, it's my fault. Okay. Let me save that. Let me erase this away a little bit. Give her some. So her hair is going to be all crazy. I'm going to go. I think I carved myself out, man. I think I did. I don't even know why I bothered to open a Coke either. I have a Coca-Cola sitting over here. I'm not even going to end up drinking a bit. I don't even know why I opened it. I drank like 1 or 2 sips. And my wife's going to have to finish it. What if the night sky missing the moon? I'm telling you, man, that song's good stuff. Let me just tighten this up a little bit. So it's kind of like a husband and wife kind of situation. I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking. I was just making people. I was going to make them more detailed than this, but I kind of like it that it's a silhouette because I can kind of cast them in shadow a little bit. And again, they don't matter as much as what I'm going for. All right, her silhouette's crazy. I'm just going to tighten some of this up real fast. Thinking that'll be okay. It's not doing a very good job of and it's really my fault the way that I drew this. With it's not tightening up right, so let's just erase this a little ways. Her hair is way too big on top of the head. I'm gonna just cut this off the back here. And this is fine down here, but it doesn't look right with the rest of her hair, so I'm gonna do something like that. Just experimenting with hair because hair is a difficult thing to draw. Somebody joked about that and said, for good hands, they're like, it's on YouTube. Like, for good hands, man, hair is impossible to draw. You know what? They right. All right. All right. I'm just gonna fix this real fast. I try to spend all day doing. Not that this is that much of a problem. I just I'm not trying to sit here and fix a silhouette. I can come back and do this with an outline with ink, with the black. I just wanted to make sure it looks good first. You know, like the idea is there, that it looks cool. See, like that kind of stuff. She could be wearing jeans or something too, so it doesn't actually have to be perfect. Her boots or something. Yeah, see? She's wearing boots. There we go. Or at least heel-like shoes. And she's standing perfectly on her to the side of us. If you don't want it to be that way, that's an easy fix. And like I said, when you're looking at the silhouette too, it lets you know if you did something right. And her stomach should be compressed, so that's right. But this all got kind of jumbled. Jeez, bless you. Yeah, all it ended up doing is making her leg look bigger than it is. And so I'll just fix that real quick. Actually, here. She has one leg. All right. Squash this down a little bit. I don't like the size of her leg. Put that one there. I'll copy and paste it. There we go. Lily, why are you screaming? A cat is screaming at me. So you get like some crazy hair coming out the back. I don't like the way that looks. I'm going to fix that. That's making her look. I'm gonna just pull her head back. See, this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. I'm wasting time doing. I'll just pull her neck back a little bit. We're just gonna assume the wind is blowing her hair, right? Because that's what I was thinking when I did it. What do you want, Lil? I think it's because she has these huge chunks of hair up here, and then the rest of this is like kind of thin looking. So what I'm gonna do is try to get her neckline. Yeah. It's not really because her hair is wrong necessarily. It just doesn't look right against her silhouette with the rest of the way the hair is. My cat is losing it. I'm making her look like a damn... I don't even know what I'm trying to say. Like a caterpillar or something. I don't know. Lily, I'm going to lay down with you soon. It might just be because it feels a little less organic. And the rest of this looks... Made her look like Bowser, you know. Oh, it's not doing it for me. I don't know why. That's going to have to work. Oh, she has some crazy hair. Okay. That works for me. Gonna merge this with the one below it. And I'm gonna lock this. This guy, I just gotta fill him in real quick. Man, I'm really tired. I shouldn't be doing this. I should go to bed. So I'm just gonna clean him up real fast. Oh, his knee is huge. Look at this. It's a swollen knee. Hey, that's all I wanted to do. So these three could be discussing what's going on. And this, like I said, this is in a different location. And here's another poster. That'll do her for now. Okay, like I said, this is in a different location. So this missing poster is going to be like near our house or something. And then, you know, this is further on down, like people are discussing what's going on. And I think that's pretty cool. At that, I'm going to call it a night. I am exhausted. I need to go to sleep. Have a good night.